We've got a question in from a listener. We're going to say we changed the names to protect the innocent. Eunice said, I love a glass of red wine, but my face turns bright red almost instantly, and I feel awful. It seems to happen most with wine. Is there a trick or something I can take so I can enjoy a glass without getting that awful face rush? Well, that's unfortunate, but not shocking. I've actually heard about this before. Mm-hmm. What's going on here?
So there's a lot more to unpack here than maybe, what meets the eye initially. So what's happening to address it right away is an alcohol flush reaction. And what it is it's really a genetic health warning sign. So
interesting.
So it's basically showing that your body is having a little more trouble than it normally would, or than someone else would, in processing alcohol, in dealing with the byproducts of processing alcohol, and dealing with the products of this entire sort of chain of events.
Chemical family.
Yes, that eventually, that we know now is carcinogenic. So can cause cancer, can cause lots of other issues. So again, on its surface, we got this, physiological response or pathophysiological response showing that there's something going on under the hood, when our body already has, for the average person, a difficult time processing it, as evidenced by the long-term health effects of alcohol, the short-term effects of alcohol,
right,
with a hangover.
Yeah.
So this may resonate with many people.
Okay. So what are those chemical issues? What are we talking about here? I mean, obviously we can just say, well, it's alcohol and that's what it does, but let's get specific.
Yeah. So firstly, when alcohol is consumed, it's broken down into acetaldehyde. This is the well-known toxic metabolite.
Okay.
It's a known human carcinogen, and it has the potential to actually damage DNA. The second important enzyme, at least in this discussion, is aldehyde dehydrogenase 2. And not also, but 2, the number 2.
Got it.
It's supposed to help clear that acetaldehyde, turning it into a more harmless byproduct that we can get rid of. And so what we'll see down the line is that there are issues with this causing more of the bad stuff to hang around.
Okay. So what is that process?
So the flush reaction actually occurs when you have, like I said, a slow working or a genetic issue with that specific enzyme. And there are other enzymes involved, but specifically with this one, ALDH2, we'll refer to it as, there are many individuals of Eastern Asian descent.
I knew it.
Yeah, it's prevalent in that demographic, but can definitely be more widespread. But that's where most people hear about it.
I had an Iranian friend that told me she and all of her family would turn purple every time they drank alcohol.
Wow.
And then I saw them at their wedding, and it was true.
Yeah, it's not pleasant. And what we'll get into some more of the symptoms and stuff, but for some people it is mild flushing. For others, it's the flushing and then it's tachycardia and it's swelling and it's this histamine response that for some people is not just this one thing. It's kind of a whole nasty chain of things, which, for some can serve as a nice natural deterrent from drinking. Unfortunately, you want to be able to have a drink, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But for these people, sometimes all it takes, if you're one of the unlucky ones, is a glass of wine or a couple beers to kind of hit the far end of the spectrum. So
it's not specific to wine, like particular to wine.
It's not specific to wine. And we'll get into.
Sorry.
We'll get into some of that. Wine, there are some aspects of it that can exacerbate the problem. I guess if you had to choose, maybe you choose a clear alcohol versus, that whole discussion.
I was going to ask
if
different types of wine.
I don't know if that's just more anecdotal, to be honest, than anything, but there's some chemistry basis to it, but yeah.
Well,
so again,
it's frustrating. You want there to be a better thing or a safer thing, because I know I have my preference and I like whiskey, but if a beer is offered to me, I'm like, nah, I'm good. But if somebody offers me a really nice bourbon, I'm much more tempted. So the idea that no, it's alcohol itself seems to be the problem. That's frustrating. That's disappointing.
Yeah.
So what does this person need to know other than, yeah, no, that's your body saying, please stop.
So again, we know that with this specific enzyme, if there's a deficiency, then we're going to be slowing down the clearance of these toxic byproducts. So again, there's just more that sticks around, and
does that mean that inebriation happens faster too?
Not necessarily.
Okay. It's just the byproducts. Okay.
Yes, exactly. There are also other, there's like a synergistic role of these other variants of alcohol, acetaldehyde dehydrogenase. And the issue is if there are people that carry, let's just say, we'll call it the fast producing version and the slow clearing version of the enzyme, then the toxic, byproduct is then not only generated at a faster rate, and then it's cleared even more slowly. So there's an enzyme that
builds up even faster.
Yeah. So you get the buildup of the acetaldehyde happens even faster. And then once it all builds up, the enzyme that's supposed to be assisting in clearing it is also not functioning properly. And then you have an instance where somebody is like bombarded with, all of the most toxic parts of alcohol consumption, which again, that lead to more of the serious complications that can arise. And this is more than just the facial flushing.
Right.
So, I mean, it's just, again, that's just more or less to highlight really what's happening under the hood. And in this particular individual's case, I don't think it's this bad.
Right.
Maybe it is more of a reflection of an issue that this person has with the red wine versus other alcohols. But there's more that we can kind of unpack as well.
So the question asks if there's a trick with the red wine or if there's anything they could do. I know I've seen different people use different additives they put in their red wine to reduce the not tannins. There's another term I can't think. The one that gives you the headache afterward. Mm-hmm. Is that legitimate? Is that relevant to this conversation? Is there anything?
It is definitely relevant. We would say firstly that no matter the alcohol, if this is a sensation that's occurring, if this is a response that's occurring, then there's a good chance that some level of this is happening regardless of the alcohol. So first and foremost, this is clearly a failure at somewhere along the line of the enzymes that are supposed to be processing alcohol. Now, with red wine specifically, because they naturally contain a higher level of biogenic amines, including histamine itself, then you might have a additive effect. So we already know that the histamine internally, that response is ramped up, and then you have exogenous histamine possibly in the beverage you're consuming. So we think that maybe that has something to do with this potent, again, vasodilatory effect, this potent headache causing effect. And so in their case, it doesn't matter which one it is, but no, it's probably both leading to this. So this person, again, they're producing massive amounts of their own histamine, clearly, or some amount of histamine. They're simultaneously ingesting something that has higher levels of histamine from the wine. This is a kind of a nasty combination. Maybe if you consumed a lower histamine drink or think of a lower calorie, clear mixed drink.
Yeah.
Sort of thing. Maybe you have a little more success with that. But that's kind of where I want to maybe change course.
Yeah.
And not sit here and tell somebody to drink, not to drink, just do this one weird thing and you can avoid it. I think it just, it calls into question like, hey, now we have some data that if you are somebody that experiences these reactions, we can assume that you maybe more than the average person have more of the toxic products sticking around than somebody who is maybe processing alcohol a little more effectively.
Right.
So if I drink, 20 drinks a month and you drink 20 drinks a month, and we have different capacities of the enzymes that we refer to clear and to process the alcohol, maybe our health outcomes look a little bit different because let's say you have more of the bad stuff sticking around. So
Right.
that's a vast oversimplification of it, but if you are somebody experiencing these effects, it just is one more reason to consider curtailing the extent at which you are consuming alcohol.
Yeah, as unfortunate as it is,
Right.
it doesn't seem like there is any benefit to drinking alcohol in terms of health. And for a lot of people, it seems like there's a whole lot of drawback, but that ultimately it's a genetic crapshoot. You may or may not have higher risk there. That's why there are some people that seem to just drink incessantly and have no issues. But when you're having this reaction, that's your body saying, "Hey, cut it out."
Mm-hmm. Yeah. There's even one paper that looks at a specific cancer of the digestive tract, esophageal squamous cell carcinoma. And just as an example, for the heavy drinkers who flush versus the heavy drinkers who do not experience the flush, there is a much higher risk associated, or much greater likelihood to have a cancer develop like this. So, again, one small tidbit there, but worth mentioning that there's an evidence basis behind, I guess this part of the discussion.
Known risk.
Yes.
Known risk.
Yeah. And so, even looking at the way this question is framed, it's one of those like, hey, what's that one weird trick that I can do to maybe drink a little more or to get rid of this? I'm a social person and I don't want to have to worry about this. And I think that's completely fair and that's normal. But again, you just want to be careful because the only thing that you can really do is mask the symptoms in this case. We got this histamine, response. If we just focus on that, we got this massive histamine response. What can you do? Well, maybe you try an antihistamine or an H2 blocker off label, like Pepcid or Zantac, famotidine, and maybe that can suppress the flush a little bit. I don't really know the evidence base for that.
Right.
It's plausible, right? Got too much histamine, suppress the histamine. Maybe you take that before you drink or when you're drinking. Can't really sit here and recommend that again, because it's more about what's happening under the hood, with the enzymatic processes occurring while as your body attempts to process the alcohol. Yeah. So I would not recommend doing anything besides maybe just real person to real person, like just trying to change what you drink potentially, or just if it is red wine, you just know that that's not going to be the most fun.
It sounds like abstinence is going to be the best policy, or at the very least, minimizing as much as possible.
Right.
Welch's grape juice.
Yeah.
It's so good though.
Sparkling cider.
So much sugar. I love it, but boy, it's not good for you either.
I mean, there's also some plausibility behind eating before you drink. I mean, it's like what you would tell somebody on their 21st birthday.
Yeah, go eat some food.
Make sure, you make it, something that's, something of substance, that's going to absorb all that.
Is there anything said about grease? I remember people used to say, get greasy food. It soaks up all the...
Yeah, like all these crazy... weird tricks to mitigate the hangover effect. When really it's like, I don't know. Yeah, you could try eating a little more. The thought is that by slowing down the absorption, eat food beforehand, gastric emptying is slowed. You pace yourself a little bit while you drink, and then maybe it just blunts the
response.
Yes.
Gives your body more time to clear things.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
I just don't know how much were we going to sit here and stand behind that? Is that what this is?
Yeah. No, we're not. No, we're not. All right. Well, yeah, sorry, listener. It sounds like your body is sending you a pretty clear signal that this is something to be avoided, generally speaking, and it could have substantial long-term implications. So we want you to stick around. Maybe have some grape juice.
Grape juice.
Yeah, it's not as good, but I get it. I get it.